Okay, millions of Muslims prepare to perform the Hajj amid calls for a boycott. Okay, I think this is a story that I'm about to agree with an Islamic preacher or an imam. Okay, so the story goes, a picture... No, that's not it. Where is it? Number 9. Okay. This year's pilgrimage has been marred by regional politics and unprecedented call to boycott the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. See, this is something I could support Muslims for, okay? A lot of Muslims are angry with Saudi Arabia, and they are very, very right to be so, especially with the way that they are treating people in Yemen. Let's continue. The boycott was brought to prominence in April when Libya's Grand Mufti Sadiq al-Qarwani called on Muslims to not to travel to the Hajj, alleging the revenues were being used against civilians in the Yemen war. The boycott calls spread through social media, finding supporters around the world. This is great. I don't say this often. I support this Grand Mufti. Okay, good job, Grand Mufti. Good job, Muslims that are not spending their money in Saudi Arabia, and shame on Muslims that are going to the Hajj and giving. And see, here's the thing. This is why the Muslims that are going to the Hajj are hypocrites, right? They're supposed to care for their fellow Muslims. That's what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to take care of each other, and they're actively giving money to a regime that is bombing other Muslims. They're using starvation as a weapon against children, against other civilians. This is the war in Yemen right now is the greatest humanitarian crisis of our time. The greatest humanitarian crisis since World War II. I am not exaggerating. The fact that this is not being covered, people a decade from now are going to look back at us today and they're going to be like, wow, why wasn't this headline news every day? This is the greatest humanitarian crisis since World War II. The number of people that are being starved because of this war is in the millions. This is insane, and Saudi Arabia knows it, and is not only it's not doing anything about it, is actively using starvation against civilians as a weapon. Okay, and this is where all the Hajj money is going to. Not only the Hajj money, every time you fill up, every time you go to a gas station, every time you use oil anywhere, you're basically fueling this war. And not only that, your tax, if you're an American or if you're a citizen of the UK or Germany, your tax money is being spent on supporting Saudi fucking Arabia. Okay, United States is supporting Saudi Arabia to kill innocent children, and this is against United States' own constitution. Both Trump and Obama are guilty of this. Both of them are war criminals. They supported this war. Trump is a war criminal. Obama is a war criminal. This is against United States' own constitution. They supported Saudi Arabia. No, they sold weapons to Saudi Arabia, knowing that it's going to be used against civilians, knowing based on their own intelligence, based on their own reports. Both of them, both Trump and Obama, knew it, and they supported this. And fuck them both for this. They're war criminals. If the world were just, they would be in an international, human rights tribunal or something. This gets me angry every time. But the kudos to this Mufti for saying what's right. It doesn't matter here that I disagree. I think your Islam is bullshit. You're a humanist. You're trying to boycott Saudi Arabia for this. Boycott Saudi Arabia. Get that fucking trending. Shame every Muslim. If Muslims, if you want to care about other Muslims, if you care about your fellow Muslims in Yemen, then shame every Muslim that is going to Hajj this year, because they are funding this war. Especially right now, where Saudi Arabia is suffering financially. Money is tight for Saudi Arabia. Everything is politically, Saudi Arabia is under pressure. Financially, they're under pressure. Their 2030 reforms is not looking good. So they're really relying on the money that the Hajj is bringing. So you are basically supporting the Saudi government when you're going to Hajj, and shame on you if you do so. So thank you. Who's this again? I'm going to the Grand Mufti of Libya, Sadiq Garwani. And again, Hajj is supposed to be one of the 5 pillars of Islam. So for this person to go and say that you should boycott one of the 5 pillars of Islam because people are dying, that's very significant. Very significant. And it's coming from Libya, so I considered it less biased. If this was coming from Iran or from Yemen itself, there's like the Houthi, the Shias, it's not like the Shias, they care about Karbala more than the Hajj anyway. So I wouldn't see that as a humanist position. Iran has its own bias agenda. So, but the fact that it's coming from this Mufti, I want to see some good in it. So good job. What do you think, Shapam?
No, I agree. Like, even though I hate Islam, even though I disagree with Muslims, I can support them on this. Like, hashtag boycott Hajj.
Boycott Hajj. Yeah. I like this story. Good. See, this is the first time that we're actually, I don't know, is it the first time? No, it's not. Because we do mention a lot of crimes against Muslims, and we call that bullshit out. But it's rare for us to actually get a mufti or an imam say something and have a story from the Islamic world and be like, yes, we like this story coming from the Islamic world. Like, so we should celebrate this while this lasts.
Atheists are under attack in many places. If they were Christians, their voices would be heard. If they were Jews, their voices would be heard. If they were Muslims, their voices would be heard. But they are atheists, and not many seem to be listening. Let's make it difficult for them to ignore us. We have built a global community, and now we are tearing down geographic, cultural, and language barriers so we can find each other and support each other. In the last decade, we have built the largest atheist community in the world. Now we're doing the same in other languages. With your help, we have started Atheist Republic in Persian and Arabic.
انضميت مؤخرا لأسرة Atheist Republic وحيصير عندي بودكاست باللغة العربية.
As we grow, we can dedicate more time, staff, and resources to start doing the same in Spanish, Portuguese, Malay, Bengali, Urdu, Hindi, and other languages. We are providing community, support, informative content, and amplifying the voices of those who need protection, especially in countries where people feel isolated simply for their lack of belief. We want to be there for them, and we are only getting started. Help us get there. Check in the description for ways you can support our projects.